On the morning of December 23, 1974, three friends stepped out of their homes expecting nothing more than last-minute Christmas shopping. They never came back. There were no screams, no struggle, no witnesses who saw fear. Just three women, together, in public, in broad daylight, who vanished without leaving a single confirmed trace. To this day, their disappearance remains one of the most baffling unsolved cases in American history. Rachel Trilka, 17, was responsible beyond her years, recently married, careful with money, thoughtful with words. She was the kind of person who left notes so no one would worry. Julianne Mosley, 9, was Rachel's younger sister, bright, trusting, excited about Christmas. She idolized Rachel and followed her everywhere. Lisa Renee Wilson, 14, was their friend. Outgoing, confident, the type who made friends easily and didn't scare easily. Together, they planned a simple afternoon. Drive to the mall, buy gifts, be home before dinner. It was supposed to be ordinary. Shortly before 11 a.m., the three girls arrived at Seminary South Shopping Center in Fort Worth, Texas. It was crowded. Christmas crowds filled the parking lot. Families moved between stores. Cars came and went constantly. Rachel parked her Oldsmobile 98 in the lot. That car would never be seen again. Multiple witnesses later confirmed seeing the three girls walking together toward the mall entrance. Calm, relaxed, laughing. Nothing about them suggested danger, and that's what makes what happened next so terrifying. Later that afternoon, Rachel's husband, Tommy Trilka, found a note on their kitchen counter. It was written in Rachel's handwriting. Went to the Seminary South Mall. Be back by 6 p.m. Love you. Rachel was not the kind of person who disappeared without explanation. The note was meant to reassure. Instead, it became one of the most haunting pieces of evidence in the case. Because 6 p.m. came and went, and the girls never returned. At first, no one panicked. Police assumed a delay, a movie, a friend's house. But by midnight, concern turned into fear. The mall was searched. Nothing. No witnesses reported an abduction. No clerk remembered anything unusual. No security guard noticed trouble. And yet, three people and a full-sized car had vanished from one of the busiest shopping centers in Texas, in daylight. Rachel's Oldsmobile was distinctive, large, heavy, hard to miss. Investigators expected it to be found quickly, abandoned, damaged, or involved in a crime. It never was. Not in a ditch, not in a chop shop, not underwater, not burned. It was as if the car and everyone inside it had been erased. That evening, Lisa Wilson's father received a call. A male voice on the line said only, "I know where your daughter is." Then the line went dead. The call was never traced, no follow-up ever came, and no ransom was demanded. Police quickly realized something disturbing. Three people don't disappear by accident, especially not in public, especially not together. Investigators considered a forced abduction, a staged ruse, someone the girls trusted. But there was no evidence of violence, no signs of a struggle, no abandoned belongings. Whatever happened, happened fast, and whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. The girls did not act frightened. Witnesses said they appeared calm, which raised a terrifying possibility. They may have gone willingly. If so, why and with whom? People disappear all the time, but rarely in broad daylight in a crowded place without a single verified witness, without a trace of a vehicle, and never with a calm, reassuring note left behind. Rachel Trilka didn't expect danger. She expected to come home. As the days passed, the case made headlines. Searches expanded. Tips poured in. None led anywhere. The girls were officially declared missing, not runaways. Time moved forward, but the mystery didn't. Years later, investigators uncovered evidence that suggested the girls may have survived the first day, and that someone close to the case had lied from the very beginning. And if that evidence is true, then the disappearance didn't end at the mall. It only began there. For weeks after the disappearance of Rachel Trilka, Julianne Mosley, and Lisa Renee Wilson, investigators worked under one assumption. Whatever happened to the girls happened quickly, violently, and likely ended the same day. But then the sightings began, and suddenly everything investigators thought they understood about the case began to unravel. Just days after the disappearance, police received a report that made them pause. A woman claimed she had seen 3 girls matching the descriptions at a shopping center nearly 40 miles away, 2 days after they vanished. The girls appeared calm. They were together, and most unsettling of all, they did not appear to be under duress. Police dismissed the sighting as a mistake at first, but it wouldn't be the last. In early January 1975, a waitress at a restaurant outside Fort Worth contacted police with a chilling claim. She said 3 girls had come into her diner late at night. One of them, the oldest, appeared nervous but composed. The youngest barely spoke. The waitress said she remembered them because something felt off. They ordered little food. They avoided eye contact. And before leaving, one of the girls had tried to pass her a note, but the waitress never received it. According to her account, a man intercepted it before she could read it. The man paid the bill, and the group left together. Police interviewed the waitress, then quietly closed the lead. Months later, a letter arrived. It was mailed to Rachel's husband, Tommy Trilka. The handwriting looked like Rachel's. The tone sounded like Rachel's, but the content didn't. The letter claimed Rachel was alive, that she was being held against her will, that she couldn't say where she was. Most chilling of all, it suggested the girls had not been harmed yet. Police were divided. Some believed it was a cruel hoax. Others weren't so sure. The letter was never conclusively authenticated or ruled out, and its origin remains unknown to this day. As tips poured in, one name surfaced repeatedly, a man known locally for his charm, his confidence, and his unsettling interest in young women. He had been seen at the mall that morning. Witnesses placed him near Rachel's car. He owned a vehicle large enough to transport multiple people, and he had a criminal history, including violent behavior. Police questioned him. He denied everything. There was no physical evidence tying him to the disappearance, and just like that, the trail went cold. Most abductions rely on isolation. This one didn't. The mall was busy. The parking lot was full. Security was present, which led investigators to a terrifying conclusion. Whoever approached the girls likely did not frighten them. They may have believed they were being helped, or following instructions, or complying with authority. This wasn't chaos, it was control. Rachel's Oldsmobile should have been the easiest piece to find. It was large, distinctive, hard to hide. Yet no confirmed sighting of the vehicle was ever recorded after that morning. Not abandoned, not wrecked, not stripped. Investigators searched waterways, fields, remote areas. Nothing. It was as if the car had been swallowed whole. As years passed with no answers, the families fractured, not from lack of love, but from unanswered pain. Some believed the girls were alive. Others believed they had been killed almost immediately. Disagreements emerged over suspects, over letters, over whether police had done enough or missed something critical. The passage of time only made the silence louder. Eventually, the FBI reviewed the case. They focused on one disturbing pattern. This was not random. The girls disappeared together, their car vanished, and there were credible reports suggesting they survived beyond day one. The FBI's conclusion was chilling. If the sightings and letters were genuine, then the girls were likely held for a period of time, possibly transported across state lines. And if that was true, then the disappearance was part of something far more calculated than originally believed. Investigators began to consider a theory few wanted to say out loud: that the girls were not abducted by force, but deceived. That they may have been told they were in trouble, that they needed to cooperate, that following instruction was safer than resisting. It would explain the lack of witnesses, the calm demeanor, the absence of a struggle, and the fact that 3 people vanished without a sound. Years later, a former mall employee came forward with a detail that had never been officially recorded. She claimed she saw 3 girls being escorted by a man, calmly, toward a vehicle that was not Rachel's Oldsmobile. At the time, she thought nothing of it. Now, decades later, she wasn't sure she could live with the memory. Police reviewed her statement, then quietly reopened a portion of the investigation. Most missing person cases fade with time. This one doesn't, because nothing about it makes sense. Not the daylight, not the calm, not the vanished car, not the letters, not the sightings. Every answer creates more questions, and every theory leaves something unexplained. By the late 1970s, the disappearance of Rachel Trilka, Julianne Mosley, and Lisa Renee Wilson had become more than a cold case. It had become a quiet accusation. Not against one person, but against an entire system that failed to understand what it was looking at. Because by then, investigators were no longer asking what happened. They were asking who had been protected. There was one name that never truly left the file. A man with a violent past. A man known for intimidation. A man repeatedly placed near the girls that day. Witnesses described him as confident, charming, the kind of person who could speak his way out of suspicion. He owned multiple vehicles, he traveled frequently, and he had connections across Texas and beyond. Yet every time police questioned him, the same thing happened. No evidence, no charges, no arrest. He walked free. Years after the Fort Worth disappearance, investigators began noticing something unsettling. Other young women had vanished under eerily similar circumstances. Public locations, daytime hours, calm behavior before disappearing. In several cases, witnesses reported the presence of a man matching the same general description. Each case was handled separately. No task force, no shared database, no coordinated investigation. The dots were there, they just weren't connected. In the early 1990s, the prime suspect was incarcerated for an unrelated violent crime. During his incarceration, he reportedly made disturbing statements to fellow inmates. He spoke about girls who trusted him, about how people don't fight when they think they're safe, about mistakes police never caught. None of it was specific enough to use in court, but it was specific enough to haunt detectives. When investigators attempted to question him again, he refused to cooperate, and soon after, he died in prison, taking whatever he knew with him. With the suspect dead, investigators returned to the letters sent to Rachel's husband. Handwriting experts were divided. Some believed the letters showed genuine similarities to Rachel's writing. Others argued they could have been carefully imitated. But one detail stood out. The letters contained information not publicly known at the time they were written. Details about Rachel's habits, her tone, her phrasing, things only someone close or someone who had spent time with her would know, which raised an uncomfortable question. How could a stranger know so much? By the mid-1990s, a controversial theory gained quiet traction among investigators, that the girls were not immediately killed, that they were transported, that they were controlled through deception rather than force, and that at least one of them may have survived for months, possibly longer. The theory was deeply unsettling and deeply unprovable. In 1997, a woman came forward with a claim that stunned investigators. She said she encountered a woman in her late 30s at a shelter in another state. The woman had scars, she was guarded, and she avoided personal questions. But when asked where she was from, she allegedly said, "Fort Worth." The woman vanished from the shelter days later. No record, no ID, no trace. Investigators could not confirm the sighting, but they could not dismiss it either. Rachel's Oldsmobile remained the biggest mystery. Vehicles leave trails. They are seen, registered, stopped, unless they are intentionally destroyed or deliberately hidden. Investigators began to suspect the car had been dismantled, not dumped, which suggested planning, resources, and experience. Over time, the families came to a painful understanding. Someone knew what happened. Someone always had. And whoever that person was, they were never held accountable. The absence of answers wasn't accidental. It was engineered. By the early 2000s, official updates slowed. Detectives retired. Witnesses aged. Memories faded. But the case refused to disappear. Every few years, a new tip surfaced. Every few years, the same questions resurfaced. And every time, investigators were forced to admit the same truth. This case had never been solved, only survived. If the sightings were real, if the letters were genuine, if the suspect knew more than he ever said, then the disappearance wasn't a single crime. It was a prolonged one, and the silence that followed was just as violent. Decades after the disappearance of Rachel Trilka, Julianne Mosley, and Lisa Renee Wilson, the case didn't reopen because of a confession. It reopened because of a question, a simple one. What if the most important clue was never missing at all? For years, the note Rachel left on the kitchen counter was treated as a comfort, proof of intention, proof of routine, proof that she planned to come home. But when modern investigators re-examined the case, they asked something no one had asked loudly before. Was the note written freely? Rachel was meticulous. She used complete sentences. She was precise with time. Yet the note was vague. No store names, no mention of companions, no detail beyond reassurance. And it was placed deliberately where it would be found, which raised an unsettling possibility. What if the note wasn't meant to inform, but to delay concern? If someone wanted time, hours, even a full day, this note would buy it. Police originally believed the girls disappeared shortly after arriving at the mall, but witness statements never confirmed a struggle. No screams, no chaos, and the sightings, dismissed for years, kept pushing the timeline forward. If even one of them was accurate, then the girls were alive well after December 23rd, which meant early assumptions were wrong, and early assumptions shape everything that follows. In 1974, Seminary South Mall security was limited. Cameras existed, but not in the parking lot where Rachel parked. Logs were handwritten. Patrols were inconsistent. Investigators later realized something critical. No one could say with certainty when Rachel's car left the lot, or who moved it, or whether it left under its own power. That gap mattered, because if the car was removed quickly, within minutes, it would explain everything. No abandoned vehicle, no witnesses, no trace, just absence. Buried deep in the original case file was a statement from a teenage witness. She claimed she saw 3 girls being escorted by a man toward a vehicle that was not Rachel's. The man didn't threaten them. He didn't rush them. He spoke calmly. At the time, police dismissed the account as unreliable. Years later, investigators realized something chilling. The witness's description matched a man already on their radar, the same man connected to multiple violent crimes, the same man who later died in prison, the same man who could no longer be questioned. The letters sent to Rachel's husband were long believed to be cruel pranks, but modern handwriting analysis never fully ruled them out. More importantly, investigators noticed something else. The letters avoided specifics on purpose. No locations, no names, no timelines. As if the writer feared consequences, as if someone was listening. And if Rachel wrote them under supervision or coercion, it would explain the careful wording. Not proof, but not nothing. Rachel's Oldsmobile remains the most baffling element of the case. Large cars don't vanish easily, but investigators now believe the vehicle may have been dismantled deliberately, not dumped, not crashed, not abandoned, taken apart, which suggests organization, planning, experience, and possibly assistance. There is one theory investigators still debate behind closed doors, that the girls were taken by someone who didn't need to use force, someone who spoke with authority, confidence, familiarity, someone who could say, "Come with me," and be obeyed. This would explain the calm behavior, the lack of witnesses, the absence of a struggle, the speed of the disappearance. It would also explain why no one intervened, because nothing looked wrong. Did the girls live beyond that day? No physical evidence proves it, but no evidence disproves it either. The sightings, the letters, the inmate statements, the shelter encounter, each piece alone is fragile. Together, they form a shadow that never quite disappears. Hope becomes its own kind of burden. Over time, the families reached different conclusions. Some believe the girls were killed quickly. Others believe they survived longer than anyone knows. What unites them is this: someone knows what happened, and that person was never forced to answer. The Fort Worth trio didn't disappear because no one cared. They disappeared because the crime didn't look like a crime. Daylight creates trust. Crowds create comfort. Calm behavior creates silence. This case shattered the belief that danger announces itself. Sometimes it blends in. The case remains officially unsolved. No arrests, no remains, no vehicle. Just 3 lives paused in time, and a city still waiting. If 3 people can vanish together in public, if a car can disappear without a trace, if warnings can hide in plain sight, then the most dangerous moment isn't night, it's when nothing looks wrong. Do you believe the girls were deceived rather than forced? Do you think the sightings and letters were real or false hope? And if someone knew the truth, why did they stay silent? Share your theory in the comments. Subscribe to Unimaginable True Crimes for more real cases that challenge what we think we know. Turn on notifications so you never miss an investigation that refuses to stay buried. Some mysteries don't end, they wait.